All right, so today we are doing director's commentary, and we have Zane O'Gwyn, not to be mistaken with Zane Seguin, a former and current director at Team Supertramp. Just so you guys know, this is director's commentary where we're going to show you guys a video we made in the past, and we're going to go into the nitty gritty. Now, I didn't have a whole lot to do with this, even though I'm like the biggest Lego fan. Where was I at? I was somewhere else filming.
You were becoming an astronaut.
Becoming an astronaut. We were working on a First Man promotional video for that movie. Ryan Gosling, no big deal. And Zane was making this video happen, and he did an incredible, killer job. Learn a lot from Zane. That is his credentials. He actually went to film school to learn how to become a director, and then he actually puts the test to the metal.
Opening shot. This is Provo, Utah.
Good old Utah, where our office is built.
Now, a lot of people don't know this,
But
that ninja is actually me. I'm the ninja.
you can actually see it in Zane's eyes. You see those eyes?
Look.
So why did you cast yourself?
I casted myself for a couple different reasons. One was honestly because it's fun. And I actually did theater, and I wanted to be an actor and a director my whole life. The actor kind of thing fell off the wayside, but anytime I get a chance, it's still pretty fun to be in front of the camera as well. And then second, it helps save on budget as well.
Let's also see the opposite side of that, is what makes it hard to be an actor and a director on the same shoot.
Yeah, so actually it was very challenging. This, especially I feel like because of the costume that I was in, that I had to be in basically the whole time. Because we'd do a take, and then I'd run in the back and I'd watch the shot. And I had Jacob Schwartz as DP, and he was also super helpful to me as far as helping me, articulate things, and so I didn't have to run back and forth as much. Because I also felt like when I was giving direction, my guess is that it felt weird for some of the other actors.
Would you ever take off your mask, or would you wear your mask while you're giving direction?
Most of the time I wore my mask just because I was having to go. And this whole thing was kind of a process. It was the mask, and then it was like a hood thing, and then it was the bandana. Yep. And the hood thing had to tie around, so it's like to take off the mask was like just too much, so I just kept it on.
And normally you don't see a whole lot as far as directing and acting, but you definitely do see it, and some of my favorite movies have been done that way. Mm-hmm. One of my all-time favorite movies, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, with Ben Stiller. He was the main actor, and he was the director on that film. So it can be done. It's not commonly done because it takes a special kind of person, but Zane was able to pull it off, so let's keep on going. So this is actually in the front of our office.
Yeah.
So just easy location, right in front of our office. We didn't need to get like crazy permission. We just asked the owner of our building, and we shot it one night for this scene right here. This is the only scene I was actually involved with. That voice sounds so familiar.
Yeah, so that's actually me as well. So there you have it.
Written, directed, edited, acted by, voice acting, VFX, Zane O'Gwyn, all on this movie. So Zane was heavily, heavily involved with making this happen.
Yeah.
So what are we about to see right now?
So right now we're going to see the introduction of, well, it's doing two things with this. We're seeing the product for Lego, the Ninjago spinner, and then we're also introducing our hero of the story. The whole Ninja scene was just kind of a grabbing scene, just to get people showing it's a little more interesting. There's more involved than just a classic kid at a high school type video.
And you'll notice that on YouTube is they'll usually, even on trailers now, before the trailer even starts, they'll have like 2 or 3 seconds of something that just grabs your attention because they want you to keep on watching. Mm-hmm. So you always try and want to start something that grabs your attention. So instead of just seeing a bunch of kids in like a high school setting, we thought it'd be better just to kind of throw you right into the action.
Let's teach the new kid who's best. Listen, man, I'm just here whoever goes the highest wins. Are you ready?
I'm ready. So casting a bunch of kids, that's not an easy task. How was that process?
No,
for this?
so casting in general is always, it's kind of no one really likes to do it because it's like you have to just judge people, and you have to look for exactly what you want to help the story go forward. And it's not like that there's certain necessarily better actors or worse actors. It's like there's better for certain roles, or they fit kind of that dynamic that you're trying to express through, the story. So Spencer McConnell is amazing. I actually saw him in Big Door. They were another production company. He was in a couple of commercials for them, and I saw him, and I was like, he's perfect. He's exactly what we want. He's such a strong actor, and actually just such a cool little guy. Like, he's not little, but he's cool. I really like Spencer a lot. Extras are stressful. I mean, even Jacob Schwartz and I were talking about it, and we've talked about it. Having extras on set for some reason, just the stress amount that goes on as the director increases. And it's always like, oh man, when there's no extras, it's like, oh, it's so nice. It's like such a relief. But these extras were amazing. Devin sent out a huge casting call, essentially on
Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook. These kids were so patient, and we let them know right straight ahead. We're like, hey, this is not going to be super fun. This is actually going to be pretty long and boring. But they were amazing, and they just took direction, and they listened, and they were eager, and they were happy, and really cool kids. Also, something really cool to talk about these kids that came to mind is these kids had to like be mocking and laughing at Spencer, and none of them wanted to do it, and none of them wanted to be bullies. And I thought that was so cool, because I mean, this whole story was written because of certain family members that I have, and people that I know in general are bullied or struggle with anxiety. So that's kind of where that came from. But it was really cool to see these kids in this age range that none of them wanted to be the bully. So really
I think
cool.
it's amazing. I think one thing too that really stands out to me is everything that we do on our channel is usually focused on stunts. So we're always using people 18 and older. On this one, we wanted people less than 18, which they always say the two hardest things to work with are kids and animals. And Zane was able to direct kids. But yeah, it's always a challenge, but Zane definitely killed it with that as far as I'm concerned. Onward. Awkward.
So he's sad it didn't get launched. And actually, too, the original script, there was way more to this. Originally, we had more of an introduction of how Spencer, or his character name was Liam, how he just moved to this school, and the bully confronts him and basically says, hey, I heard that you like to fly. Some kids during lunch saw you, fly the spinner. And basically the bully is a little more intense and saying that he's going to wish he never moved here, that he's the best flyer in the school. Like, it was way more setting up the world that in this world, having a Ninjago flyer was the thing to have. We just cut that short just because of time. And I mean, that happens all the time, but I still think it turned out pretty strong.
How long did all this school stuff take?
One day.
One day.
One day.
Look at that guy.
Yeah.
Ninja, really? I don't know who put you up to this, but I'm sick of being made fun of today. I'm giving it up.
So, that shot right there with the flyer spinning in there, I mean, everything about this was supposed to be kind of over the top and fun and silly, owning to and paying homage to a lot of things that I grew up as a child watching, a lot of 90s, like Surf Ninja, Three Ninjas, then Ninja Turtles. I mean, all this was, so it's a little bit, it has that vibe to it, which I really wanted, so I did the voiceover afterwards to make it kind of sound like it was a little bit dubbed, and I also tried to change my voice to make it like the cool ninja, whatever. But so that was kind of where I was going with this, and but then I wanted to covertly sneak in a powerful message and on top of it. So some people in our audience understood that, got it, and loved it, and there was quite a few that didn't love it. So, I mean, whatever side you sit on, that's fine, but
Guys, don't hate. Appreciate something for what it is. Also, there's a guy right here doing a front flip. Was that a professional stunt guy?
No, that was me. We had it on those little trampolines, and I did it off it. But it's actually funny. The first time I did it, well, I tested it. I didn't land it, and then I landed it, and we didn't have the camera in the right way. And so this last time that I do it, I actually land like on my feet and on my butt right at the same time, and it was just like boom! It was so hard, and everyone was like, "Oh!" But
That's what made the cut.
Yeah, it did make the cut. That was the one right there.
So there you have it. Originally, we were going to have a stunt guy, I believe, but Zane was like, I can do it.
Yeah, it's just like I could do it, and so I did it.
And then also, too, at the beginning of this whole sequence, we saw the smoke bomb and everything. That was all practical, correct?
On this, no, I'll show you. There's some practical smoke, and there's some, well, you see the smoke kind of enter the frame.
Yep.
That was all practical.
Okay.
Yeah. This is not. This is fake. That's fake.
All that, okay.
Yeah, that's fake.
How do you guys do that?
So this is just a fun, I mean, I love playing around with transitions, but it was a cool way to show like time has passed, but just a fun way of going back and forth. So we just made sure we took measurements, and we got Spencer to stand in the exact same place on the camera. We actually filmed this scene, the school scene, we filmed it last actually, and this scene we filmed first. So this is where we took the measurements from, was actually the scrapyard.
And then you had all this whole movie storyboarded as well?
Yep, yeah, everything was completely storyboarded.
And who did the storyboarding?
I did.
Man of many traits.
How is
In order for me to teach you the way of Ninjago, you must agree to my conditions. It will not be easy. There will be blood, sweat, tears, and a small price.
What's the price?
Cheese puffs.
What?
Cheese puffs. All ninjas up. Do you accept these terms?
I don't know, I guess.
Then let us begin. We will train your body for
So this whole scene, how long did this take to shoot?
So this was also the entirety of this scrapyard scene was shot in one day. So even the rain scene and everything afterwards, all of it was shot in one day. So it was essentially a 2.5-day shoot. We shot full day here, we shot a full day at the school, and then we shot that night out here in the front. This is kind of a fun little way of making a montage a little different. Just to kind of make it like a comic book, kind of make it have a feel of a training montage and not just be so boring. And actually too, originally I had Go Ninja Go from MC Hammer singing over here, and it was super awesome, but obviously we don't have the rights to that song. So.
Temp music.
Yeah,
ruins
so temp,
everything.
it does. Sometimes temp music, you get your hopes up in there, it makes it so much cooler, and then you do what you can to find music that you actually have the rights to. And I still think this song works. This song is pretty fun.
And where, with that being said, where did we get most of the music for this video?
So most of the music was from 2 sites, Music Bed and from Epidemic Sound. Actually, that's all that we got all the music.
No
from
custom
this.
music at all. It was all stock.
Yeah, it was all stock
music.
Yep.
So listen to that. With that in mind, is that Music Bed has actual deals. What we did, where you pay a yearly subscription, you can use their songs for your YouTube videos. So that's what you're hearing.
Did I not tell you there would be sweat? Now move. Yes, feel it, do it. Yes, be the ninja. Oh, it's my arm. Go, faster. You are learning. To master the way of Ninjago, you must know what it feels like to be the fly.
Is that real sweat on him?
No, that's not.
Do you guys have a makeup artist?
No, we didn't. We actually,
Carter did that himself.
Carter and I did it together. I put the sweat on him. We cut a hole in the top of a water bottle and squirted it on him.
Okay.
So.
A little trade secret, but it sells.
Yeah.
Are you sure about this?
I told you there would be blood, didn't I? I'm joking. You should.
Like, fine?
Yeah. I mean, you have the helmet fixed, right? Yeah, you should be good. Just hold on.
So explain what this prop is, because that looks like pretty high tech, something you don't buy at Target.
No. So we actually had that custom made from the Roundies. And essentially, I mean, they welded this giant Ninjago flyer. We gave them images online and let them look at the toy. And so this thing actually did spin. The seat was strapped on there really good. There really was like a seatbelt strap and everything that Spencer could put on. And but then obviously, I mean, it was super heavy too. But we actually have it. You can see that there's actually bolts on the bottom of the ground to hold it in. Just because just to give it extra stability and make sure that Spencer didn't fall over while he was strapped in and it just tips over. So you can see it.
Did he ever actually spin, or is that all VFX?
No, so this is actually spin. I just sped it up.
Okay.
Yep, so he is actually spinning around. But it's actually funny, and you can see in the behind the scenes, the first few times I did it, the rope just came unraveled and it didn't spin it, or he started spinning like super slow. And then we finally got the rope tied around it enough that I tried pulling it. And I tried pulling it, and it was like so hard, and like so I couldn't even pull it by myself. So in this take, you can see we actually cut it off, but I had like 3 or 4 other people on the rope running away from it too to actually be able to spin it, because I couldn't pull it by myself. It's too heavy.
Are you okay?
So one shot, how did you guys actually pull that effect shot off?
Yeah, so this one we got a lot of people talked about and asked questions about this, because this isn't like your normal. Usually you can spot a cut in doing this, but we did this shot a little differently as far as how he shot up and how he fell down. So what you're looking at right here is actually already the scene where this flyer is behind the car. So right to this point, you can see, keep going there. The flyer's already behind the car, and then I just superimposed the the fire from it spinning in there.
All right, now for my favorite scene in the video, the rain scene. So before we start, Zane, tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this scene.
So I love the idea. I mean, obviously, we love making movies. We love movies. Devin and I go see movies all the time, and we talk about them. We can talk about them for hours. But one of my favorite things as far as the hero's journey goes, or even a hero, you'll see it plenty of times in other films where it's kind of a rebirth moment when the hero actually changes. One of my favorite ones done is Jon Favreau does it in Iron Man, the first Iron Man. Tony Stark goes in as this fun-loving playboy. He gets shot, and then he passes out, and then he wakes up, and then they take him out of the cave, so out of the birth canal. He's reborn, and they take off the hood, and he sees for the first time, it's like this moment of realization where he's changed. At that moment, he becomes Iron Man, and he sees that his weapons are being used by terrorists. Anyway, so that's just one example. They're all over films. You can see it. I wanted to incorporate that here with Spencer, with Liam as the character. This was the moment where the rain falls on him, and he's changed, and he's made new. And you actually have that camera movement too that you'll see, and we can talk about it when we get to it, but it actually moves around. So it's like the idea of his whole world changing, or a paradigm shift of him looking at the world in a different way.
A lot of thought process. They don't just show up and hit record.
It's impossible. Nobody can.
So did you actually hit it?
So on that one, no, but really funny, there's one take where I just go up there and I shoot it, and it just hits it right on. And it was so hard for none of us to break character, because it was like, we were all like, it was so amazing. And I was just like holding it underneath my ninja mask. I was just like the biggest grin because I had nailed it. But yeah, this one I did not actually hit it there.
Actually, no, there's a slight color change. Do you see that?
Oh yeah, there is.
So if you look for the little nitty gritty,
yeah,
you might find it. And then what about, did all of a sudden the clouds change? Because it looks like the lighting and everything changed as well.
Yeah, so this was all in post. They had to dim the whole scene to kind of make it look like a cloud maybe kind of covered. This same thing right here. And now actually all this rain you're seeing there is digital on that shot.
Just on his glasses?
And that you're seeing fall.
So it wasn't raining at all?
No, right here it was not raining at all. And you can see it was still bright, so I dimmed it in post. I added some rain in post, and then I added droplets on his skin and on his glasses. And if you really look at it a long time, you actually see that it's not that great, because I'm not a great VFX artist. But
I was sold.
Yeah, and I think it sells because it's so quick. And then this is actually with the rain.
Hey, I'm joking. Stop caring about what other people think. And start believing in yourself.
How?
By letting go of others' expectations. You are not here to live up to them.
Did the camera get wet?
No, so the camera's under an umbrella. And another thing too is that, and we can talk about this pickup shot too, but this whole scene we couldn't actually get a microphone underneath it. When we tried, and you couldn't hear anything because the rain was so loud. Yeah. The rain machines were so loud. And also something cool that kind of played into our favor is we did actually get cloud cover at this moment. It was completely clear all day long, and we got cloud cover to help kind of add the effect that everything wasn't bright and blown out in the background. And that rain was freezing. We plugged it into a fire hydrant, just had it come pouring down on us. And little Spencer got so cold, and he talks about it in the behind the scenes, but he was so cold. And I was actually relieved because I was so hot in that costume, but he was freezing, but he was a trooper. And then this scene, the cutaway to me being tight, we actually filmed that in front of the office. It was a pickup shot.
And that one we just used with a hose.
Yeah, that was just a hose falling.
Old-fashioned way.
Yeah,
but
it was all falling on me. Yeah, so it works just the exact same way.
Shout out to Field.
Yeah. And I just had regular pants on. I just had the shirt on and the hat on. That was it.
This is how you become a ninja master. It's not about overcoming the bully, it's about overcoming yourself.
All the lightning was in post. There was no lightning there.
You guys had a big umbrella over the camera?
Uh-huh. So that's the moment of change. There you see this paradigm shift with the ninja kind of in the behind, but it comes from Spencer being alone, or Liam being alone, to turning and that he's not alone anymore. All these things that I'm saying, a lot of them I pulled actually from the philosophies of Bruce Lee, who's one of my all-time favorite heroes. I loved Bruce Lee, I still love Bruce Lee. And so I incorporated some of these philosophies to hopefully help people who cope with, frustrations of having anxiety or depression.
This is how you become a ninja master.
I love Timpanogos, that mountain. That's actually why I chose this school. So this is my junior high school that I went to.
Who would have known?
But I chose it because of this view right here, because it's so epic looking that we have that Timpanogos mountain right behind us. Now to us in Utah, anyone from Utah, it's like, it's old hat. But to anyone who's not, when they come and see that, they're always like, oh, it's so cool. And I think every once in a while we remember and we're like, we live in a pretty cool place.
And this end sequence you shot the same time you shot the intro sequence?
Yep. Yep.
What one did you shoot first, intro then ending?
This actually was the first shot of the day.
Okay.
My work here is done. But here.
And we wanted to get the mountain looking as beautiful as it
Yeah.
did, and that's why we did it, the first shot.
Wow. Thank you so much for everything. Oh, I almost forgot.
And of course, the cheese puffs just add a little,
For you.
that kid element to it, because keep in mind this was made for kids.
Thanks again.
That was practical smoke. That was the black powder that we lit.
What do we have here? Ooh, this is actually pretty cool. It's mine now. Give it back. I challenge you to a fly.
How do you guys cast the main bully?
So he also went through casting things, and he plays actually, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Power Rangers, but they do like Power Ranger things on that Ninja Kids TV, and he plays Bulk, the bully. So when I told him, I said, I actually want you to, like, have you ever seen Power Rangers with Bulk and Scully? I'm like, that's what I want you to kind of do. And he's like, oh, I played that role anyway. So he was so awesome. I found him on it. He actually was like the kindest, the kindest kid. So awesome. Yeah, I found him through some agencies as well.
So eager to lose again? Are you ready?
Believe in yourself now. By letting go of others' expectations, you are not here to live up to them.
Wait!
Empower yourself by saying you are willing to be afraid.
How about that one shot where it flies up to the camera? You guys actually did that?
No, so that was a drone shot looking down, and there was no toy there, and I took pictures of the toy, and I cut them out, and then I animated them in After Effects. I had it spin in After Effects and everything, so it turned out pretty cool.
Stock music as well?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was amazing.
A band called Utah, actually.
Really cool.
Okay, so that is the overview. Zane, just a couple last minute questions before we wrap things up. Biggest thing you learned from this experience?
From this experience, I learned a ton about working with kids and helping kids kind of get to the spots that they need to, and also just hire good actors. I also learned that our channel doesn't really love movies that are geared towards children. So there's
Yes, YouTube is a very strange place. We do a lot of different videos, so we bring in a lot of different audiences. So to me, this is one of our most thought out, most time consuming videos we've ever done. Yet our audience was very polar. They either loved it or they absolutely did not love it. So that was definitely one thing. It's always hard to cater towards every audience, but we do love the idea that, oh, we can hit this audience, but we also can hit the younger audience. You know, it just shows what we're capable of doing. And I think when we did approach this, though, this was always catered towards the younger audience.
Yeah,
correct?
yep. And it was really cool too because Lego was super stoked on it. They were stoked on it from the very beginning. And like the philosophy of the ninja says, you know, you stop worrying about what other people think. You know, we're not here to live up to others' expectations. And so we created something that we were proud of, that had a message that, and I actually had people reach out to me, people that normally wouldn't, reached out to me personally and told me how much that video meant to them and how much they needed it at that time, which is, at the end of the day, that's all we want to do, is help create a better place to live in. So
that is their takeaway: is don't be a bully, don't be a cyber bully like the kid in here. But no, we do love making movies. We do love sharing kind of our experiences and kind of showing what actually happens. So hopefully this gives you more insight and more appreciation for what we do. And hopefully you guys can take that and create your own content, because that's what it's all about, is sharing what you learn and go from there. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already watched it, make sure to check out the Lego Movie on our main YouTube channel. I have a link that pops up right now. Over and out.